Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to explain about the code execution for the special number in Java. This is one of the questions that I'm going to solve from the question paper of computer science from the ICSE 10 years book. So this is very common and very important question. And let's recap. If you haven't watched my last lecture, please watch that where I have explained the algorithm and the try run. And in this video, I am going to explain the working of the code. So a special number is such a number in which if we do the sum of the factorial of each digit of that number, we would get that number back. For example, for 145. 1 factorial is 1, 4 factorial is 24, and 5 factorial is 120. Now, if we sum them up, 120 plus 24 plus 1, we get 145 back. So, that is a special number. So, in this program, we have two components. One component is the factorial part. This is the first part, and this is the second part where we are taking the input and invoking the logic of digit extraction. If you haven't watched my last video, there I have explained each of the component in details. Here I will go through each of the part as well, but you can watch that to see dry run and detailed working of the flow. So in factorial, what we do, we multiply 1 with 2 with 3 and dot 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 up to that number. So it is basically a product of natural numbers starting from 1 up to that number. So program method this method is responsible for taking an input n and finding the factorial f and returning that. So this is a pure method that returns a value. Okay, so it is operating by working on a for loop. So the for loop starts from 1 up to that number and it is incrementing by 1. And this f variable is used to store the factorial. So by default, it is initialized with 1 because you know that if we do product, if it is initialized with 0, 0 into something would be 0. So for product specific things means where we have to do the product or multiples, there you have to initialize the base variable with 1. This is a prime rule for this kind of programs. So i's value is starting from 1. So when i's value is 1, f will be 1 into 1. Then when I increments plus 1, then the condition would check that whether 2 is lying below n or not, right? Suppose n is 5. So it would start from 1. 1 is getting multiplied because 1 is smaller than equals to 5. 1 gets incremented to 2. Now 2, the condition is checked. So first step in the for loop is initialization. Then the condition checking. Then the body of the loop gets executed. Then the update. Then after that, before the beginning of the next iteration, the condition is checked. If it is true, then the body of the loop will be executed, and then again the update. So this is a for loop. So for 2, it is checking 2 is more than equals to 5. Yes. So the body of the loop would be executed. So if is now 1, 1 into 1 was 1 in the previous iteration. So now 1 into 2, it would be 2. So f is 2. Now 2 will be incremented to 3. I's value is getting updated to 3. Now the condition would be checked. 3 is smaller than equals to 5. Yes. Then the body of the loop would be executed. So the body of the loop now, if value is 2, the last iteration we got 1 into 2. So value is 2. So now 2 into 3, 6. So the value of the f is updated to 1 into 2 into 3. Okay. Now i's value is getting incremented again. So from 3 it's becoming 4. Again the condition is being checked. 4 is smaller than equals to 5. Yes. The condition is true. Then the body of the loop would be executed. Now in the body f equals to f into I. Now the value of f is 1 into 2 into 3, that is 6. Already we have found out that f is 1 into 2 into 3 in the last iteration. Up to the last iteration, that was our result, right? So now I would be multiplied with that. So 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Okay, so it is 4 factorial now till now. Then i's value is again incremented by 1. So we are getting 4 plus 1, 5. Now 5 is smaller than equals to 5. Yes, we have given equals to. Equals to means up to that number the loop would execute. So the condition is true and f would be again computed. So f is now f equals to f into I, means 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, that is f into 5. So now we are multiplying 5 with the previous equation result. So here we get 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So 5 factorial is obtained. Now the loop doesn't stop here. Again I would be incremented to 6. Again the condition would be checked, 6 smaller than equals to 5. Here we get a false. If the condition is false, the loop would not be executed. The control would jump over to the next line after the for loop. So the for loop ends then. So now f's value would be returned. So f value is 120. So 120 is returned. So it was the basic working of the factorial program. If we give a number n, we are getting back n factorial. Okay. Now this program scriptlet we will be using that in the next part, where in the main method I have taken a scanner class object to take the console input. I'm giving a prompt to the user that enter a number, and then I am reading that integer from the console window. So for that we have a method in the scanner class, that is the next int, that reads an integer from this terminal window, and that integer whatever we have read with the help of that scanner class object is being assigned to num variable. So num is our input. Whatever we took as input, that would be stored in num. And here we are taking two variables. One is the dup variable to create a duplicate copy of the original number, and a sum variable to compute the sum of the factorial of the digits. If you remember, in the beginning I told that the special number is such a number which is equal to the sum of the factorial of its digits. To generate the sum, I have to take a variable, right, to store the sum. So for that this sum variable is used. So dup is for making a duplicate copy, and sum is for the sum. And why I have taken the dup, I have explained that in the previous video. You can watch that there. Now I have run the while loop. This while loop is responsible for cutting out the digits. Now if you see that the digits are for 145, the digits are 5, then 4, then 1. So we have to chop out these digits, right? If we take out 5 and make the 5 factorial and sum them up, if we chop out 4 and if we find the factorial and then sum it up, if we chop out 1 and sum it the factorial of 1, and then we would get the sum of the factorial of the digits, right? Now in order to chop it out, in order to chop the digits, what we have to do, we have to run this while loop. This while loop is, the condition is until the dup variable is greater than 0, the loop would execute. Now in the loop body, see, dup percentage 10, the remainder whatever we are getting on dividing that duplicate variable means the original number only. Now percentage 10 means we are dividing it with 10 and getting the remainder. That remainder we are storing in r. Now if you mathematically think that whenever we divide some number with 10, what we get as a remainder? Suppose I am dividing 123 by 10, what we are getting as a remainder? We are getting 3, right? Take another example, 459. If we divide 459 by 10, what we are getting as a remainder? We are getting 9 as a remainder, right? Take another example. We take 230 and divide it with 10. What we get as a remainder? We get 0 as a, right? So whatever is there in the units place, that number is being returned in the remainder, right? So on dividing any number with 10, we get the unit place digit. So that digit is being chopped out and stored in R. So this is basically chopping out the last unit place digit of the number. And that R, whatever digit we have extracted, we are finding the factorial with the help of method call. So we are sending that digit to fact method. The fact method is running a logic to find the factorial, whatever we discussed in the last couple of minutes. And that factorial on getting returned, since the return type of the function is int, so the factorial will be returned as an integer. That int is the data type of the returning variable. So that is being returned here and getting summed up in some variable. So this is going to generate a cumulative sum. The first digit, the last digit would be extracted, the factorial would be calculated, and it would get added. Then in the next iteration, the second last digit would be extracted and find out the factorial by using the method call, and then sum it up. Then the third last digit. So it would gradually loop Now this is clear that we are extracting the last digit by dividing it by 10 and getting the remainder with the help of percentage operator, module operator. Now how we are truncating that means 145 on dividing by 10 we are getting 5. Now in the next iteration if we again divide 145 by 10 we would not get the second last digit, that is 4. Now in order to get 4 we have to shorten the number from 145 to 14, right? Then only on dividing 14 by 10 we would get the remainder as 4. So to truncate the number, we have this code, that is DUP equals to DUP by 10. 145 by 10 would give us the quotient. The by operator gives us quotient and modulo operator gives us remainder. So DUP by 10 would give us 14. So in the before the next iteration, that DUP variable is getting updated with 14. So next time it would be 14 greater than 0. Yes. Then the loop would execute and now the R would be the unit place digit of 14, right? Now 14 is divided by 10 and we are getting the remainder, that is 4. So see, we have truncated the number and now we are getting the next unit place digit, that is 4. And then we are again finding out the factorial and summing it up. Then again we are truncating that number. Now 14 would be divided by 10 and the quotient that we obtained is 1. So now DUP would be updated with 1. Now the DUP's value is getting updated to 1. Now again 1 would be greater than 0. Yes. Now again 1 is divided by 10. 1 is divided by 10. What is the remainder? The remainder is 1 itself. If we divide any unit place digit with 10, we get that unit place digit as a remainder. So 1 would be returned and R is 1. And then again we are finding the factorial of 1 and summing it up. So now we got the factorial of 5 plus factorial of 4 plus factorial of 1 inside some variable. Now let's see how DUP gets updated. Now 1 divided by 10, the quotient would be stored in DUP, right? So if we divide 1 by 10, what remainder we are getting going to get, that is 1. But what quotient we are going to get, we are getting quotient 0, because unit place digit would not be divided, cannot be divided completely by 10, because 10 is greater than any unit place digit starting from 0 to 9. So we would get 0 as the quotient only, so the DUP's value would get become 0. So when we reach the last digit of the number, after that we would always get the DUP as 0. That's why I have set the condition DUP greater than 0. When we are getting DUP equals to 0, that means we have reached the end of the number. We should stop the loop. So then the loop gets stopped when DUP is 0. Because condition is DUP greater than 0. The loop would execute, the body would execute till DUP is greater than 0. Once DUP is 0, the loop would terminate. And outside the loop, whatever sum we obtain, the sum of the factorial of the digits, we are checking that whether it is equal to the original number or not. So see, here comes the importance of taking the DUP variable. Since we had to update the variable repeatedly, the DUP's value is getting changed to 0. So it is not impacting the original number. So it's just a copy of that number. For that reason only we took the DUP variable. Now, if sum is equals to the original number anyway, that means it's a special number, because theoretically a special number is such a number which is equals to the sum of the factorial of each digit of that number. So if this if condition is satisfied, then we are printing special number, else we are printing not special number. Okay. So that was the overall working of the program. So in this approach, I have used the static void main, the main method, because I have to run that in the console. So that's why I have used. So let's run the program and see the output. So the first prompt has come. So the scanner class is asking us, this prompt is asking us to enter a number. Let's enter 145. And here I see it's a special number. Let's run again with that different number. Suppose I give 345. It is not special number. Okay, so it's working. So that was all about the special number. It's a very important question. Always make a habit of giving some comment entries, because in the board exam you have to give some comment entries, maybe somewhere here in the program there should be minimum 5 to 6 comment entries minimum. Okay, checking whether sum of the factorials is equal to the original number. make a habit of writing some comment entries, and then you can get the full marks, because in the exam you have to write comment entries and variable description. Prepare well, best of luck. And if you haven't subscribed the channel, you please subscribe that and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thank you. Meet you in the next video.